All right, so today what we're going to learn is how to assess normality. So it is the other way pretty much to do a normal distribution. So it's the other way to check to see if something is normal. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and do 6.5, assessing normality. So usually when we talk about normality, if we do like a histogram, normality, we want it to look something like this. So if we do a histogram, we want the histogram to kind of look something like this. So if our histogram kind of gives that drawing or that description, we could say that our data set is normal. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about normality. So there's actually another way to check to see if we have normality. And the way that we check it is called the normality plot. So for the normality plot, if you look right here, I already have an example of the normality plot. Like in a little bit, I'll show you how to get that plot. But for right now, pretty much, let's look at this example that I have here. So when we're looking at a normality plot, for a normality plot, we essentially want it to look like a linear line. Actually, let me use something that's not red, so that way you won't get confused. So we want something that looks like a line. So when we do a normality plot or a probability plot, we kind of want it to look like a straight line. If we have something that doesn't look like a straight line, that's kind of telling us that our data set is not normal. So usually for a plot, you kind of want to be able to just look at the normality plot. If it looks like a straight line, that's kind of telling us it's normal. If it doesn't look like a straight line, then it's not normal. So if we look at this example that we have right here, if you kind of look at the dots, all of the dots look like a straight line, except for this dot over here. And kind of if you look at these two dots over here. So since we have some type of breakage between the normality plot that doesn't look like a linear line, what this normality plot is telling us that this data set is not normal. Oops. So it's not normal. So that's how we're going to use the normality plot or the probability plot for normality. If it looks like a linear line, we're going to say our data set is normal. If the data set is normal, it should look like a linear line. All right. And in tests and quizzes, I am going to give you these boundaries. For that way, you can be able to use these boundaries to pretty much tell if something is normal or something is not normal. Anything that fall outside of this boundary, like this point over here, that's telling us that the data set is not normal. In order for it to be considered normal, all of the points should lie within that boundary. All right. Any question in regard to this quick introduction about a normality plot?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to show you how to produce this by using Class Calc. All right. So if you have Class Calc, have it ready and make sure that it's in graphing mode. All right. So if we want to do a normality plot, what you want to go ahead and do is just go to Stats, go to Distribution/Plot. If you look all the way here on the right lowercase corner, you should see where it says Normal Prob Plot. So you want to select this one. So then what you want to do, you want to enter the value. So if you do have your chapter 6 notes, we're going to enter the 728, the 678. So we're going to enter those numbers there. So we say 728. you put a comma, 678, comma, 723, comma, you get 735, you go to comma, these 735, all right, so that's what you kind of want to go ahead and do. You kind of want to go ahead and enter all of these value into it. Once you enter all the value, if you kind of look at our drawing, there's nothing there. The reason why there's nothing there, because pretty much we're focusing on the wrong picture. So what I want to do, I want to tell Class Calc to look at the right picture. So I'm going to hit right here where it says magnifying glass. Well, not say, but where it has the magnifying glass. And now if you look at it, it's pretty much zooming in on that part. And if you look at it, it actually, oof, let me not do that. So if you actually look at it, it's giving you the line. So to help you out to see if everything lies close to the line, it's pretty much telling you have a normality plot, or that you have a normal distribution. But if you look at this dot over here, all the way on the right-hand side, that's kind of telling you that it's not normal because of that one dot. All right, but that's it for the normality plot. Any question in regard to how I did the normality plot? Okay, so if you do have a TI-83 or 84, there is a way to do it in the TI-83 84. So let me get the TI-83 out. So for the TI-83, let me share the TI-83 right now. So first thing you want to go ahead and do, you want to go where it says stats. You want to go where it says edit. And you want to enter in all of the number. So I'm going to go ahead and enter all of the numbers. There you go, 720A, 670A, 723, 735. So that's the first thing you want to do. Just enter all the numbers there. All right, so once you enter all of the numbers into the list, all you have to do, you want to hit the second button. So the second button on my calculator is blue. So you press second, and then you hit the Y equal, which is right above the second button. So if you look at it, you want to go where it says plot on. On yours, it's most likely going to say plot off. There you go where it says plot on. Press enter. So make sure that you select the on option. So you press on. You go down, and with the right arrow, you keep on going until you go to the very last one. So you want to select the very last one. and press enter there. For me, since I entered the data set into L2, I have to change it from L1 to L2. So I want to hit the second button, which is the blue button again, and you want to hit the number 2. So now it's in L2. Everybody good so far with that? All right, so then you go to graph. So if you look at it, nothing shows up because pretty much your calculator is looking in the wrong area. To tell the calculator to look in the right area, you press zoom and you go all the way down where it says zoom stats. And that way it will zoom into that statistic. And you get that drawing. And that's it. Any question in regard to how we got that? All right, so let me go switch over to my notes again. All right. All right. So for this one, just remember, since we do have some departure from the line, we're gonna say it's not normal. So up next, I'm gonna go ahead and show you some other examples. If you have the TI-83, here are the pretty much instruction on how to do it, in case you got lost in anything. All right. So up next, we're gonna go ahead and do this problem over here. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create a histogram. So before we do a histogram, so before we do a histogram, because I want to use this data set multiple times, we're gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna save this to a variable in class calc. If you're using your TI-83 or 84, I want you to enter this into L1. So if you're using this for TI-83, enter this into L1. If you're gonna do this in class calc, this is the way I want you to do it. So you're gonna enter all of this information, and let me show you class calc. So the first thing I want you to do, I want you to press X1. Because the thing is, since I'm gonna use the data multiple times, I don't wanna have to re-enter the data set multiple times. I just wanna do it one time and be done with it. So I'm gonna assign it to X1. So I'm gonna put X1 is equal to, and then what you're gonna do, you're gonna use a bracket. So let me see if they have that here. So what you want to do, you want to use brackets. So the bracket should look something like that. It's kind of like the parenthesis, but it's the one that's squared off. So
wait, where did you get that?
Should be here. Here, let me see. Let me use my phone for ClassCal. So that way I can tell you where I got it from. Where is ClassCal? Okay. For you, what you have to do, if you actually look at the parenthesis, you have to just hold down on the parenthesis. If you hold down
Okay.
the parenthesis, it should give you the bracket.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So then we go 43, comma, 45, comma. So right now, take several minutes and enter this information into ClassCal. Very cool. So I'm finally done. So I enter all the data set in. So that's all our data set. Everybody good on entering the data set? Okay. So first thing we're going to do, because if you have the notes, if you look at it, it says in your calculator, construct a histogram of the data, describe the distribution. So right now we're going to do, we're going to create a histogram using this data. So we're going to go where it says stats. We're going to go where it says distribution. And if you look in the middle, all the way in the bottom, it says histogram. So we're going to just use histogram. All right, so for this one, we're going to say the bin width, let's just use 50. Or here, let's do 20. So up next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it the data. So the data set for the histogram, we're going to put x1. So for histogram, you want to enter x1. Bin width, we're going to do 20. Any questions so far on that? Okay, so if you kind of look at it, nothing is popping up because we haven't told it where to look at. So if you hit the magnifying glass, it should magnify, oops, it should magnify to that. Let's see. Yeah, I think I forgot to put a number, but that's okay. Like one number isn't gonna change it. So if you put a little bit too much or a little bit too little, I think it's supposed to say 72. I think I just missed one. So all right, so that's my histogram. So if you kind of look at the histogram, if you kind of look at the histogram, what type of distribution does the histogram have? Does it look like it's symmetric? Does it look like it's skewed to the left or skewed to the right?
It looks skewed. Um,
All right, so
my
you got,
calculator's not working. That's why I'm looking at yours.
okay. So we already go with the skew, but which side the skew to? Yeah, good.
All
Then
right.
skew right. So skew right, so that's telling us it's not normal. All right, so based off of this, it's telling us our distribution is not normal. Because if you look at the histogram, it kind of telling us it's skewed to the right-hand side. So up next, what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna do the normality plot. And we wanna see, based off of the normality plot, does it also tell us it's not normal? So I'm gonna take away this.
Is someone playing music?
Not anymore. All right. So other we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna do the normality plot. So to do the normality plot, we're gonna do exactly the same thing that we did before. We're gonna go to stats, we're gonna go distribution, and right here where it says normal probability plot, we're gonna select that. And what we're gonna do, instead of typing in the numbers all over again, we're gonna tell it to use X1. So I'm gonna say X1. And let's go to the plot. So if I look at this plot, does it look like a straight line? All right, no, good. So for part B, we're gonna say the normal probability plot is not a straight. Cool. So based off of this, if you look at it, it's not giving me a straight line. If it's a straight line, that means our data set is normal. If it give me something that kind of looks like this, if you kind of look at it, it kind of has curvature. Since it has curvature, it's kind of telling us that it's not normal. Actually, that's a better picture of it. So it's kind of telling me it's not normal. So pretty much for part C, it says, is the data approximately normal? We will say no. And the reason why is no, because if you look at part A, when we did the histogram, it gave us a data set that's skewed right. And for part B, when we did the normality plot, it also gave us something that wasn't a straight line. So it's kind of telling us it's not normally distributed. All right, but that's it for that one. Any question on how to do the normality plot for this data set? Okay, so I'm gonna come here do this real quickly for the TI-83 people. And then we'll almost be done. All right. So for the TI-83 people, if you want to do a histogram first, you go right here where it says second, and then you press Y equal to. So you hit the blue button and then press Y equal to, which should be right above the second button. If you look at it where it says plot on, what you want to do is select that one. So if we're doing the histogram, we're going to select the third type of graph. So you want to select the one that looked like a histogram, which is the third one. So you press enter. And what I have to do, I have to change this from L1, well, sorry, from L2 to L1. Any questions so far for people using the histogram, how to get here? All right, no, perfect. So then what you want to do, you want to go to graph. All right, so when you go to graph, if you notice, nothing shows up because the calculator is looking in the wrong direction. To tell the calculator which direction you want to look at, you press zoom. You go all the way down to 9. Technically, you don't have to go all the way to 9. If you just hit the number 9, you could do zoom stats. And if you look at it, you get the histogram. So by looking at the histogram, what type of distribution is this histogram displaying? Well, by looking at the histogram, you should kind of see it's skewed to the right. So then now I'm going to do a normal probability distribution for this one. So we're going to do the normal probability plot for this one. Because the histogram is telling me it's skewed right. So the normality plot should also tell me the same thing. So we're going to go second, y equal to, we're going to go plot on. Instead of choosing the histogram, we're going to choose the very last one. So everything looked right for me. So now what I want to do, I'm going to go to graph. All right, so if you look at the graph doesn't look very zoom in because I'm looking the wrong I'm looking at the wrong direction. So what we have to do, we have to press zoom, press 9. All right, and you get this drawing over here. So if you look at this drawing over here, you can kind of clearly see that it's not normal because it doesn't look like a straight line. It has some curvature to it. So since it has some curvature to this, for this one we'll say, based off of the normality plot, it's not a normal distribution. And that's how you do with the TI-83 or if you have the 84. Any question on how to do with the TI-83 or 84? All right, if there's no question, let me go back to my notes. All right, so right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a bunch of little examples to kind of show you if the data set is normal, how should it look like? If the data set is not normal, how should it look like? So if you look at this first one, based off of the histogram is showing that the distribution is normal. If you look at the normality plot, all of these points are in a straight line. Like there is this one point that's not in a straight line, but that's okay because it's pretty close to it. So based off of this normality plot, we could say it's normal. Because if you look at the normality plot, mostly all of the points are on the line except for this one. And if you look at the histogram is also showing a normality plot or a normal distribution. All right, so that's that first example. Now we have the second example. If you look at this distribution, what type of distribution is this? We learned about this in the beginning of this chapter. Start with a U.
Uniform?
Yeah, uniform. Yeah, if you actually look right here, it says uniform. So this is a uniform distribution. So what that means that this distribution is not normal. So if you kind of look at this normality plot that we have, if you kind of look at it, we have this curvature. It's not a lot, but you kind of are able to kind of see that it does have some curvature. So if you look at the normality plot, you should also get that it's not normal. Because most of the data set is not in a straight line. And if you look at it, you have slight hint of a curvature because it's a uniform distribution. All right. So the last one we're gonna do for a skewed data set. So like the problem we just did right now. So if you look at this one is skew right. So that one's skew right. So we know this distribution is not normal. So we know it's not normal. And then if you actually go ahead and look at the normality plot, from the normality plot, you should also be able to get that it's not normal. Because if you look at the points, all of the points are pretty far off away from the line. Because you have all of these points away from the line. You have all of these points away from the line. So you have a bunch of points that are not on the line. Because remember, for a normality plot, it should look something like the first one that we did, where most of the points are close to the line. Like, yeah, there is this one point that's kind of far away, but everything else is pretty much in line. So when we're looking for a normality plot, you're just looking, does it look like a straight line? If it looks like a straight line, you say the data set is normal. If you do have some sort of curvature, or if you do have data set that doesn't look like a straight line, then that's when we say it's not a normal distribution. Right. But that's how you assess normality using the normal distribution, well, the normal probability plot. Any question in regard to the normal probability plot.
Okay, so even if it has like 2 outliers, it's still considered normal if it's kind of straight, right?
Yeah, because it's kind of straight. Like unless
Okay.
those outliers are complete outlier. But what I mean like complete outlier, like say like they're over here, then in that case you would say this is not normal. Because that one
Okay.
outlier will make it skew to the left or skew to the right.
Okay.
But if you look at it, since it's pretty close, we're used to accept that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, cool. And that's it for chapter 6. Any question in regard to chapter 6? Perfect. Very cool. So that's it for